see we are absent one councilman. Zach Terrell is not here this evening. Everyone else is present. Also, if you notice that sitting on my right side is Greg Pittman, who is our new city attorney. John Paul Isom did a fine job during his tenure. I made the change basically for two reasons. One, Greg is currently the Bedford City Attorney and the Mitchell School System Attorney. So I felt like with that expertise that fits our needs perfectly with his past experience. And the second reason, it's easier for me and my staff since Greg's office is near the courthouse. I, for one, have several monthly meetings in Bedford. That makes it easier if I need to stop, pick something up, drop something off, or make an appointment to stop by and see Greg. It's much easier for me to do that than it is to run down to Paola. In no way was this change done because John Paul, his job performance. He did everything we asked him to do, and I was completely satisfied. I just feel like switching to Greg is a better fit for our community, so that's why I made that choice. Welcome to the team, Greg.
Thank you. It's an honor.
We don't leave the tomatoes at home tonight.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Be nice.
All right, thank you, council. You have copies of last month's minutes. If you had a chance to look those over, see if we need any additions or corrections. If I hear none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes of last month's meeting as presented.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, the minutes are approved. Under old business, column varying rules, I submitted a outline of the rules to the council at the last meeting. There's been a proposal to make a adjustment to one part of the rules, the approval of materials for box, vault, or niche. Right now it says no object other than the container of cremated human remains may be placed in a niche. It has been proposed that we allow small items of a sentimental nature, such as a picture or a letter, be placed in the niche with the urn. These items would need to be pre-approved by an elected city official to be sure it was appropriate to put them in the niche. So I just wondered if there was any discussion or thoughts from the council about changing that language and adding it to the column varying rules.
You know, I think, some thought was to, whoever the funeral directors are, or funeral home, whatever, to maybe include that information when they have, set up their arrangements. Because I know, like George, you mentioned that, you know, if they were out of town, they may not know, so, whoever it is, that they can get that done, so they won't have to make another trip. And then George mentioned too about the, how some people would be more affected by opening it back up and going through that again, rather than having a one-time opening and closing. So some thoughts there on sentiment, so.
So if someone wanted to change 3 or 4 times, are we gonna charge them $250 to open it every time that they wanted to put something in there for a sentimental value?
Well,
I think it should be.
I think that that's the way we have it written now. I mean, we do have to put a limit on it. We can't just make it a locker like at school. We're gonna run over there every 30 days and put something in there or take something out. That's not the purpose of it. My feeling is that if they have something they wanna put in there, they should do it when the urn is put in there. Because that opening and closing is included in the price of the niche. had provided for people to take and earn out, let's say they lived here and then for whatever reason they moved and they wanted to take their loved one with them, and that they would also have to pay for us to open it and close it and then transfer, ownership could be transferred to someone else at the same price they paid. It cannot be sold for more than the initial cost.
If I have a niche there, I take out whoever was in there and take them somewhere else. If I sell mine to Larry, then does Larry have to pay $250 to have it opened up?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would be in the initiative.
Yeah, no, if it's transferred, they would have to pay to have it reopened and closed again,
But they,
along with the transfer fee.
but, okay, if Chris is, that's his box or niche, and he sells transfers ownership to me, it would be his responsibility to open and close and take his out or what?
No, we would have to coordinate that, so it would be transferred, we'd have to do a transfer in the office, transferring ownership,
Yeah.
and then it's gonna have to be opened and closed, so that would be, we could do that all at the same time, but the fee would still apply.
But would that apply to me since I'm buying it, since I'm not using it?
I would say so, yes.
Mm.
I mean, or you might split it, I don't know, but the fee is gonna have to be charged.
To me.
If you're gonna have him open and close it, but you're not gonna put anything in, then I would say he would have the fee, so I think we would have to work that out.
If I'm not doing right up front, if I don't die for 10 more years,
Yes,
then whoever's taking their remains out.
Then that would
should
be
open
it.
and close
yes,
back up,
yes,
so, and then when I pass on, if I want to put ashes in there, then it would be up to my estate to open and close.
correct, and
Yes.
pay for a new front, if you were gonna have it
Yes,
engraved,
yes,
yes.
Yes.
Anything else in regards to that?
I think we ought to put the wording in there to allow for sentimental, mementos to be put in there, I suppose, and, with a limit, it's gotta be something, a small item, it can't be,
Yes.
a shoebox full of letters or something, it's,
Gotta be something appropriate, can't be something that would decompose or when we don't, if there was somebody that, it'd be unlikely, but let's just say somebody had a diamond ring they wanted to put in there, I would refuse that if I was asked, because I don't wanna tempt somebody to go out there and mess with the columbarium, because I just don't wanna do that. It needs to be something not of high end dollar value as well. That's why it needs to be pre-approved.
And I think with the opening, closing, if somebody every month wanted to go out there and have it opened up, put back in, well, to deter that, you should have your opening, closing cost included. Because you don't want somebody once a month going out and saying, we just need to open this up, put something in there. Because it'd be too easy if you don't charge for it.
Right.
So that's
Why we
that
charge
was my
for it.
opinion.
Well, we can put that language in there and bring it back at the next council meeting for final approval.
Who has a key to these?
Marshall.
Mike and Marshall, but it's not anything you can get anywhere else.
So then, if they have a barrel on a weekend, then we're paying somebody overtime to come in to open this?
If we do it on the weekend, which is no different than if it's a burial in the regular cemetery, it costs more on the weekend.
And the holidays too, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
holidays as well.
Weekends and holidays, it pays extra. And, another thing we were discussing on the sample door out there now, they've got a military small emblem. And we don't want to discourage that, but we don't want to get all kinds of emblems where it takes up your lettering and stuff. And we was talking about possibility of talking to Marshall and see if they have, a layout, a different kind of mason, that it would have, we could get a list of those that would be approved, because we don't want just anything putting on that would go against our policies and stuff, or thoughts, so.
We could include language that any emblem requested has to be approved as well, before it can be put on there.
That sound good to you guys? Any other question, Chris?
All right.
Not really, I don't guess, I mean, it just seems to me like there's an awful lot of money involved here. I mean, with guys opening these, or wanting to open because of, if they wanna put a sentimental object in, when I die, if my son wants to put my medals in there, and it's not at the same time as what it is during the ceremony, he would have to pay $250. And then if somewhere down the line, somebody wanted to put something else in there, it's gonna cost $250. Pretty soon, I mean, we're getting to the price of, I mean, we've just got a lot of money invested in here. In it, at the same time, if they decided they wanted to move me from here to Honolulu and put me in the punch bowl, then they could, if they did that, then if I sold it to you, I mean, then we're just
Yeah.
paying more money.
That's part of the, setup of the, and it's the same thing with, on your plots, you know, you can sell those and transfer them, because, we did that for my wife's sister, but when we moved my wife's mother from part of the cemetery to the other part of the cemetery, and it was around $2,000, I think. That was without a new vault, a new casket or anything, that was just bringing it up and moving it over about 100 yards. It cost around $2,000 for that, so. But now I know, inside the cemetery, there's a lot less legal papers than there is if we had moved her to Bedford or Orleans or somewhere else. Once you move out of the cemetery, in that situation, it's a lot more red tape and a lot more costly, the hoops you have to go through, so.
I don't know, I just look at it that, I don't know whether there's an easy way, but if you go out here and buy a burial plot, you plunk down your $500 or whatever they are, and basically, you're done with the fees. I'm not gonna pay every time I wanna go over there to stick a spray on a headstone, or have to give up any money. If I want to move my burial plot, and then I wanna sell it to Larry, then, I mean, that's not paying $250 to open the door.
You would, there would be a fee if you, are you just talking about selling your lot, or
Yeah,
if
if
you're
you sell it
already in
outright.
there?
It
If you
doesn't-
just sell it outright, it is transferring the
If,
cost.
if I was already in there, and they wanted to move me from, to Pohakaloa,
But you'd have to pay for the opening and closing. If you was already.
how much is that?
It's on our schedule, I forget where the schedule is, you know, we had looked at it before, but there's a schedule of opening and closing.
I mean,
Yeah, for
Yeah.
burial, yes.
Whether it's, fresh opening and closing or opening and closing later, you still. the
is it
fees.
$250?
It's more than
I
that.
think it is more than that. I think it's more
I'd
than
say
that.
it's probably closer to
$550 or
Yeah.
$650 for the weekends or something.
Maybe, I would have to look it up, I don't
Yeah.
know off the top of my head, cause we rarely do
It's-
it.
It's quite a bit, it'd be same as, like I say, it's quite a bit of money for your burial. And I don't know, I did have a copy of it, but I'm not sure, maybe at home. But it's, like I say, I think it's $550 or $600 for the weekday and $650 or so for the weekends and holidays, I think. But,
It's quite a bit, yeah, I could get that and get it to you later, but I don't have it in front of me.
maybe in
It's in the ordinance book under the cemetery.
somebody comes in, you say, well, we're gonna do this for you, but we're not gonna do it for somebody else. I think you gotta be consistent.
You have to be.
Did you start to say something, George?
I just said it, we're not twisting anybody's arm to buy one.
Yeah.
I mean, they would know up front that when they purchase that,
These rules are.
this is the rules, you know, so, you know, if they wanna take that on, that's up to them. I mean, we're not twisting their arm to buy one.
And you got the same thing
So-
with your plots.
Right, exactly.
So, that, the guidelines are set out, and this is how it is, and you agree to that, so.
I have a question. Why isn't, I mean, my opinion, if you get one, ashes are put in there, okay? Say, maybe 6 months later you wanna put something in there, but there should be a limit on how many times you can open it to put something in it.
Well-
They've already, yeah, they were already talking about that. That was, so.
The idea was to just do it once.
Once, yeah, that's a reasonable amount one time.
I mean, it may seem a little bit far-fetched, but I can see somebody that would say, I want something in there at Christmas, I want something in there at Easter, I want something, you know, those were big, important holidays. I want something in there on our wedding anniversary, I mean, if you don't have fees, you
Yeah.
could be out there
That's right.
constantly opening and closing. And so that we just have to put some kind of limitation. And having a pretty good fee is one way to do it.
If you can rewrite
Mhm.
that and bring it against
Mhm.
next month, and then we can do clarifying touches on it, whatever, so that agreeable to you guys? George?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the OOR grant administration. We've previously applied, approved, been accepted for this grant administration. We sent out 5 bid requests for a grant administrator, as required. SIDC based in Lagodi was the only proposal we received back. That's what this is, which is quite, as you can see, it's quite involved. What that basically boils down to is it is a resume of their past work, it's a resume of the people that will be doing the project, and it's a timeline for the project. SIDC did our last housing grant, so, I mean, they know us, we know them. So my recommendation would be that we go ahead and approve their proposal, because we've already approved the project and we've already been notified that we will get the funding. Is there any thoughts from the council on that? I don't know if that needs to be another motion. Personally, I don't feel like it, since it's already, we approved all of it, but if you would feel comfortable, somebody wants to make a motion, we can kind of put a rubber stamp on it.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we go
Okay.
ahead and do that as a motion, and I'll make the motion that we accept SIDC's proposal.
I second.
For
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. SIDC will be our grant administrator.
If I could, just,
Sure.
so what I will do, the project hasn't received release of funds yet from Oprah, and, we're already in that process, it's just the time period hasn't passed yet to do that. So upon release of funds, then we would be able to sign a contract, and so we could, I could just meet with the mayor and the clerk treasurer to sign the contract, since you've already approved it, tonight, since you did receive just the one proposal. And then there is a letter, Mayor, that I would need you to sign, that you didn't do any review, basically because you received the one and you've worked with us in the past, so I can get that over to you tomorrow, for you to sign. Next steps, we can go ahead and start the procurement of the inspection services. Basically, it'll be the same as it was for the grant administration, but I can go ahead and start doing that for you. instead of having Lori do it like she did, with the grant administration. So that would be the next, once we're under contract, the next steps would be that we would start taking applications from the homeowners that, either called our office or filled out a survey or, called Lori's office. I went through them tonight, we have 62 of them, and so, take two of us, probably about 3 days, to come up here, and if we get, all 62 of them, to start that process. The other thing that we would start once we are under contract is, hiring a, radon, inspector. Because that's something different from the last grant, we do have to have the homes inspected for radon, and, we would do that as well. As for inspector, they had also changed it a little bit from last time. You can actually get quotes, is our understanding from whenever we did the application process, which would be a much quicker and easier process. So that's kind of our next steps with everything.
Appreciate it.
Anybody have any
Sounds good.
questions?
So the 62 people you'll be interviewing, and then there's not room for 62 people.
Right now, depending on if everybody takes the full allotment of what we had, kind of advertised for, it would be 18 homes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so with that, homeowners have to turn in a copy of their deed and, provide like social security, verification. Those are usually, and the insurance. Homeowners insurance, deed, and social security. That's the things that we need from homeowners. And so there'll probably be a quick turnaround period that we will ask people to get that information turned into us. Because with 62, we're just gonna have to, it's gonna take us a while, with verifications and everything. And it would be based on the lowest percentages of, based on area median income is how the process would work.
I think you mentioned before, but, this, repairs that's doing for them, then they have to stay in that location or
No.
do they not anymore?
Not anymore.
Okay, all right. Okay, so they've changed that.
There's no lien on the home or
Okay.
anything like that.
Used to, they had to stay like
Used
3
to
years
long,
or something like
a
that.
while back with
Yeah,
Indiana
okay.
Housing, that was
Okay.
the way it was, but no longer.
That's good, okay.
So the paperwork that everybody's already filled out, first round, is null and void.
That paperwork is just basically a survey.
Okay.
We use those surveys, basically to help get the grant, to show that we had something concrete in writing, that we could show the state, that this is the need out there, basically, not just us going out and talking to folks. So that's what those surveys were for. So yes, we do have a more formal application. We usually allot about 30 minutes per person to take an application, so, I mean, it's not that time consuming, and we will come up here, to do the applications with them.
Can you remind me, what was the full amount of the grant?
Full amount of the grant was $350,000.
And the maximum amount per person, per
Yeah, I knew you
household?
was gonna ask that. I'm gonna say between 20 and 23,000 off the top of my head.
Well, be 18 divided into 350,
Well, and
right?
actually you have more money with that because you had to have match money as well. And so SIDC has another housing preservation grant from the USDA Rural Development that we include with it. So, that's why it's a little
A
bit,
little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so I was thinking it was somewhere between 20 and 23,000.
That's good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
We'll
fine.
take that answer.
If you want me to, I can call you tomorrow with the correct
I'm
amount.
good, I'm good.
Okay,
Any other questions for Jenny?
all right. Okay, well, we look forward to getting started, and just as soon as we get that release of funds, then I'll get you a contract, and then we'll get started meeting with everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Well,
thank you all.
I know you gotta drive, so,
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you for being here.
Bye-bye.
Next on the agenda is council appointments. to the redevelopment commission. The council needs to make 2 appointments to positions. I did look in some old, commission memberships, and in most cases it was 2 off of the council, but it does not have to be. It can be, as long as they're a citizen of Mitchell and at least 18 years old, it can be anyone else, so that's a council decision who they would like to appoint. So if you have any thoughts.
You guys interested? Okay. Well, George, you be my buddy?
Yep.
Okay.
Just to make that official, someone wants to make a motion that, Larry and George fill the 2 positions on the redevelopment commission.
I'll make a motion that, Larry and George be accepted as the redevelopment commission members.
And I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, congratulations, guys. All right, we'll move on to the plan commission. On that commission, the council needs to appoint 3 people. And in this case, it has to be an elected official or a city employee for your 3 appointments. And Vicky has graciously volunteered to be one of those officials since she is a city employee. Once again, like I said, it either has to be someone off the council or someone employed by the city, so,
Is it for the city planning commission, or
yes.
when do they meet?
Well, they meet,
We would have to set up meetings. and
we
stuff
set
like
up
that.
meetings when we have a meeting. You can have a monthly meeting or as needed, is the way I read it.
I think that's kind of what we did before, as needed, so,
I mean, I'll do it if it's on a Monday or Tuesday.
okay, that would be up.
Yeah, I mean, those is the only days I got free.
Okay.
Okay, we need one additional.
You want to, George, or you want me to?
No, I'll do it, I'll do it. You got enough on your plate.
All right. To make that official, I'll ask for a motion that George and Chris be appointed to the planning commission as well as Vicky.
Well, I went to Vicky, so she volunteered. She had to put some Bengay on her arm, and we went to talk to her, so. No, she did okay, so. Okay. I'll make a motion to, for the council to, appoint Chris Carlisle, George, James, and Vicky for the, planning commission.
Second? I'll second it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations again. Okay, I guess we're ready for public comments. Mary Ann, did you have?
Yeah, I have a couple things. I just wanted you to know that 2 neighbors on my block have had all the cats they feed all been spaded or neutered on the 700 block of Warren Street.
That's
So they're not
great.
gonna multiply.
That's good.
So it'd be nice if a few other people that maybe get some of them fixed. And then, I know the Humane Society is charging a ridiculous price to be there. I know Bedford has Mary George at the dog club that they drop them off. Why don't we do something about chickens?
Well, I just became aware of that this morning, and we're definitely gonna look into it and see if she can help us out as well.
Okay, cause I know she has Bedford and Lawrence, it says Bedford, Lawrence County, but I know that it was specifically said that Mitchell wasn't in it. So, that was one, and, like I was telling the police chief, it's nice to see the policemen have been monitoring Warren Street. People aren't hot riding as much as they were.
They're out there slowing them down.
They moved to Main Street.
Well, yeah,
I got a question. Raccoons and possum, I've forgotten how the city deals with those, cause I have both visiting.
Call the street department and they'll bring traps over and trap them. And then they'll take them out in the country and then in a couple of months they'll be back at your house. That's our policy on raccoons and possums
and skunks.
and skunks.
Well, yeah, the skunk hasn't been back for a while.
I seen somebody the other day at Ace Hardware, she had a chocolate and white skunk. Yeah, yeah.
They must have had it defumigated.
Yeah, she'd had it for a long time, but I just,
They're like
when I
a
seen it,
dog.
I said, that looks like a skunk, but I'd never seen a brown and white one before, you know, I mean, but she said, yeah, it's a chocolate one, okay.
Hair dye color.
Hair dye, yeah.
All right, is there?
The only thing I had, it doesn't have to be it's not a council thing, I don't think right now. Out the cemetery from 14th Street to, Deep Burton. I've had reports of several cars using that as a street. And we thought we'd put up, right now, just put some signs up that it's not a through street and see how that works. You know, if it helps out some or not, is that, you're probably aware of that. aren't you?
Yeah, cause I go through there about every morning, but yeah, it's,
So, we thought we'd put that up, and I guess if we had to go further, we can do that, but I think just signs right now, so put them up with the pick your dog stuff up signs, so that we can, shouldn't have to have a, ordinance or anything on that right now.
no.
That's all I had.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start showing movies.
Only as long as you sit down there, you know, I mean, I'll think about jumping out there guarding somebody. I'll be a really slow guy, okay, but you know, I mean.
Yeah, put a timer on, so if we run too long, it kicks on.
Yeah.
Chris, if you do that, I'm gonna sell tickets.
It'll be really, really slow, okay?
We've already used it a couple times for some training,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Good.
Somebody donate that?
No, the city bought it.
Oh,
And that was the primary reason, so that you could do training sessions in here.
well, sure.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye and
Aye.
hit the road.
We're getting
No more
big
projection
time.
on the wall.
We ain't gonna do it.